Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing? Let's try that again. How is everybody doing? Thank you. I know it's Monday morning, but we're still excited to be here on H Street to really kick off a few things. One is this is the beginning of Housing Week for us this week, an opportunity for us in the administration and us in D.C. government to really celebrate all of the housing-related accomplishments. We sort of packaged them all into 1 week, and so this is the first kickoff for Housing Week, an opportunity to talk about 33 all-affordable units on H Street. Can we get a hand clap for that, by the way? 33 units, all affordable. We'll have a few other announcements throughout the week that highlight the various housing-related investments and opportunities and resources really championed by the mayor to make Washington, D.C., continue to make Washington, D.C. affordable. Obviously, very pleased to be here for the R.L. Christian groundbreaking. Again, an opportunity to celebrate something that's pretty unique, especially in what we sort of in the housing world call high opportunity cost areas, areas that are more expensive to live in. I personally used to live right over on 9th and H Street Northeast in the early 2000s, and I moved over there because I could afford it. Because it was a place that met my ability to be able to make payments on it. And today, that was before the Whole Foods and Starbucks and the Giant and everything else that you see now on H Street. And so, having increased opportunities to have places that are going to be 100% affordable like this one are truly unique. Obviously, these kinds of efforts don't come without a tremendous team and a tremendous amount of effort to get them done, so just a few thank yous. Obviously, the first person and the person who really has been leading our charge around affordable housing is the mayor. The mayor has really not only made housing and affordable housing a primary part of her first 3 years, but she has demonstrated a continued commitment to making sure that Washington, D.C. continues to be an affordable place. So just a quick applause for the mayor and her efforts around affordable housing. Thank you, Mayor. We also have some of our other leaders around affordable housing. Polly Donaldson, our Director of the Housing Community Development, will be coming up to speak a little bit later on. We have Todd Lee from the Housing Finance Agency also here. So really, most of our housing leadership is represented here today. In the Deputy Mayor's office, there are a number of people that have been instrumental to making sure that this project happened. Our Director of Real Estate, Saroshal Padwala, who's here, Gilles Stucker, our project manager. I see Javier Beltran, Miguel Garcia, as well as a host of other people in the Deputy Mayor's office that have been instrumental to make sure that this happens. And obviously then, finally, we've got the developers. We've got Insight Property Group, who will be coming up a little bit later on to make some announcements. My job, again, is three things, as the mayor likes to remind me. I've got to be focused around getting increased tax revenue in the District of Columbia. I've got to be focused on getting D.C. residents jobs. And finally, I need to be focused on affordable housing. And so projects like this that are not only going to be providing affordable units here on H Street, they're going to be providing tax revenue on what previously before was not generating any tax revenue. And as a part of not only the construction, which brings jobs, but around the permanent retail that will be located here, there are going to be jobs for the foreseeable future for this project. So particularly excited about those opportunities. One of the additional people who has really been a champion for this project has been the Councilmember. Councilmember Charles Allen has been an advocate not only for the H Street corridor, but also specifically for this project. So I'd like to invite him up to say a few words.
That is a long walk. That's fantastic. Good morning, everybody. There we go. I am pleased to be here, and thank you, Brian, very much. This is an exciting project, and I know hearing Brian and the mayor talk about the Housing Week, and so hopefully they're going to be having events like this all over, but I'm really thrilled and appreciate that you are kicking that week off right here in Ward 6 in a project that I think is really emblematic of both the challenges we face and then the things we can do when we really put our mind to it and really put pressure here. You know, we're going to talk a lot about the project in just a little bit, but I wanted to share a little bit of a story about what brought us to today and then why I am so excited about this project in particular. While it's been several years since the city went through the process to make an award, that initial award actually isn't what we're seeing today. Initially, it was going to do inclusionary zoning. We were going to have some units of affordable housing, but it wasn't quite what we've been able to accomplish today. The community was excited about it and saw the opportunity. But one of the things I appreciated is Mike Bloom and Trent Smith from Insight reached out to me and said, we have an idea. We think that we can do more. We think we can do more. We hear the city's charge for that. And so they wanted to see if they could find a way to turn this into an all-affordable project. I reached out and they said, do you think the community is going to support this? I said, I'm pretty sure. I reached out to ANC 6A. I want to give a lot of credit to Stephanie Zimney, Phil Tomasian, and our commissioners for the ANC, and said, now, this isn't quite where we started, but what do you guys think? And after they said yes, I then reached out to Brian and to the mayor. And there was no hesitation. When, the mayor and I talk frequently, probably every other sentence is something about affordable housing. It is a major priority for her. And when I talked about this idea and said, can we figure this out, to the mayor's credit, to Brian's credit, they said, yes, let's figure it out. And so today we're breaking ground on 33 units of affordable housing, much more than where we started, which I think deserves a big round of applause. And more important than just the number of units are the types of units. 6 of these units are going to be 3-bedroom units on H Street. I think where we are seeing and celebrating so much growth, so many businesses opening, so much happening. More important, we've got to make sure that this is a place where every family and every resident can see their future and be able to call this home. So I'm very excited by this because I think this project will help deliver so that families in D.C., families along H Street know that this future is for everybody. And making sure that we have the affordable housing to do so is so important. So I'm very appreciative of the hard work of a lot of people. Brian, the mayor, her whole team, our ANC, and everybody along H Street is going to make this happen. It's a really exciting project. So thank you to the Insight team who helped bring some vision to this. Thank you to the mayor for really grabbing this and helping figure out how we deliver on this. So I'm excited with the groundbreaking today because this, again, I want H Street, as much as we celebrate everything that's happening, I want this to be a place where everybody knows they can call this home. Everybody knows that their future is right here on H Street. So I'm excited. Thank you, Brian, so much for helping us kick this off. Thank you all for being here, and we'll move some dirt in just a little bit.
Thank you, Councilmember. Sometimes, we talk a lot about the investments that we make around affordable housing, which are truly important, actually make us at the forefront nationally in terms of investments per capita in particular. But sometimes there's no better way to tell our story than by someone who has been influenced or who has experienced some of the affordable housing benefits that we provide. Because affordable housing is not just about new construction; it's really about people and their ability to continue to live in this community. Phil Brooks is a tenant of the Maycroft Apartments in Columbia Heights. He wanted to stay in the District of Columbia, and thankfully, through investments like the Housing Production Trust Fund and other resources, he's been able to stay in the District of Columbia, and we're very happy about that. So I'd like to invite up next Phil Brooks, the Vice President of the Maycroft Tenant Association.
How's everybody doing today? A round of applause for low-income housing. It's a wonderful thing, y'all. It's a wonderful thing. My name is Mr. Brooks. I'm the resident at the Maycroft Apartments, which the Jubilee Housing is renovating and preserving as for affordable low-income families. I'm temporary. I'm living at the Ritz building until the Maycroft is done. And the Ritz building is beautiful. Okay, so just until if anybody's going to be, if you're getting your apartment redone and they're going to relocate you into another building and until your building gets done, don't worry about it because they got your back. Jubilee going to do you real good. Okay, so I'm living in the Ritz building. I'm looking forward to the new apartment at the Maycroft next year. That's when it's going to reopen. The building, like the Ritz and the Maycroft, are important to those who have their dreams, who have some kids. And I look at the low income. It's good for like there's single moms and single dads, because where I live at, it's a lot of ladies in the building that take care of their kids. They can't afford to pay the rent that's in Washington, D.C. So when I be down in the lounge room and we be having a conversation about how they love the affordable housing, because it helps people to fulfill their dreams and go to college and all those sorts of things. And once I moved out of Raycroft, I started to pay my rent, which I could afford to pay. So now, and do more in my life. And I started going to the Academy of Hope, because one of these days I want to be, not one of these days, but I'm going to be a counselor where I can reach out and help the youth. Because that at the Maycroft also they have a youth program downstairs that y'all youth is looking for a whole lot of things in Jubilee, I'm telling you. So y'all keep y'all heads up. I want to be a counselor where so I can reach out and help, do as much as I can do. And I volunteer at Joseph House. It's a place that it supports the homeless men and the women. I take care of the garden, I take care of the grounds. I do what I can do to help out. So, and affordable housing helps keeps the stress off of life and gives the kids a safe environment. Like this environment here, or Columbia Heights, or Adams Morgan. The environment up there is completely safe. So, and I experienced the affordable housing help was not only just for me, but just for back in my education I started doing. So mothers and fathers are trying to take care of their kids. I kind of read over that, but just for the mothers can go back to school, the dads can go back to school, and they can help their kids go to college. I'm glad the mayor made affordable housing a priority in D.C. The Housing Production Trust Fund helped me make it possible for Jubilee to renovate the Maycroft and keep it affordable and the low-income families. I'm honored to introduce Muriel Bowser, who will tell you more about the investments of her administration has, and they will continue to make affordable housing. Thank you all.
Well, that was a lovely introduction, and let me thank Phil for being here and really putting a face to all the people in Washington, D.C. who are just looking for a fair shot, looking for opportunities in the city of their birth or of their choice, and making sure that they're working with the government, taking advantage of all the programs that they're out there to offer. But I think Phil just puts a point to it, that we're all just kind of the same, looking for a chance, looking for a safe neighborhood, and looking for opportunities for all the young people in our lives. So let's give him a big round of applause. Let me start off, unfortunately, by remembering Americans in Las Vegas who are suffering a devastating loss. Let us be reminded, and tell anybody who asks you, that guns do in fact kill people. And we have an obligation as leaders and as spirit-filled and life-loving people to hold everybody accountable for the common sense regulation of guns in our community. Not just for the massacre that we saw in Las Vegas, but unfortunately because the day-to-day and weekend-to-weekend violence that we see in cities across our nation. So join me in a moment of silence. So what you heard Brian talk about was the focus of our administration on building more affordable housing units and preserving more affordable housing. You're going to hear about this great project from the developers who are going to be responsible for it. And it is true, you heard from the council member, that it started out a little differently. Sometimes when I'm at these projects, I have seen them when I was the Ward 4 council member, the chairman of the Economic Development Committee, and now as mayor. And I remember more the details about these projects than than most. And so when we had the proposal to change this project, we wanted to make sure that it would continue to be a project that enhanced 8th Street Northeast, offered wonderful housing opportunities, was environmentally sensitive and sustainable, and made sure that it would be just a great addition to everything that's happening here on 8th Street Northeast. You also heard Brian talk about the unprecedented amounts of investment that we've made in quality affordable housing. What I realized that in our first term, we will be able to produce, preserve, and put in the pipeline 8,000 units of affordable housing in 4 years, an unprecedented number. What I also remember, not getting ahead of myself, but with your support, in our second term, we'll be able to do 10,000 units of affordable housing in 4 years. And we know, and people will be tempted to say, that mayors can make the rent go down. And we know that's not true. We know what the government can do is make sure that we're creating jobs, opportunity, increasing wages in all 8 wards across the city. That's what we can do to make sure more people can afford housing. But we also have to be there every step of the way. When we have quality development partners, they have to know that the government is going to be there to help close gaps. And that's what doubling our investment in the Housing Production Trust Fund has meant. When I became mayor, we were putting $50 million a year in the Housing Production Trust Fund. And in the last 3 years as your mayor, we've been able to double that amount, $100 million. This year in FY17, we got $138 million out the door. So when we talk about units and dollars, sometimes we forget about the people. And just in FY17, the $138 million that will be invested in new units, on the preservation of units, will help people like Phil and people who live all around 8th Street Northeast, who want the opportunity to stay and grow in their own neighborhoods. Later in the week, we're also going to talk about something that's important, very important to me, and that's how we get more D.C. residents to become D.C. homeowners. And that is so key to how we transform neighborhoods. Later in the week, we're going to talk about a D.C. government employee assistance program that are going to help more and more D.C. residents fulfill that dream as well. So I want to thank all the ANC commissioners, the development teams that have been involved. Councilmember, thank you for your support, and my entire team at DHCD and Housing Finance, who put all the pieces together with the private sector to make sure we can be here today. And in just a few weeks, how many months is it going to be? I always say weeks because it sounds faster. We'll be welcoming 33 new residents to their homes on 8th Street. Thank you, everybody.
Give it up one more time for the mayor. Thank you, Mayor, being our affordable housing champion. I'd like to invite up next our director for the Housing Community Development, Polly Donaldson. She is the person in her agency, people like Allison Ladd and lots of other folks who work for her, that make sure that the investments that the mayor has championed actually get to the people. So I'd like to welcome up Polly.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Appreciate that very much. Madam Mayor, thank you for your commitment to affordable housing. That's why I'm here today, as you know, and it has been such a pleasure over the last 3 years to be implementing your vision at the Department of Housing and Community Development. Thank you to Councilmember Allen for being here. Appreciate that. And to other agency directors, I see DCRA Melinda Bowling, and I think Thomas Bowen is here from Religious Affairs, a partner with us in some affordable housing development as well. So I want to recognize him, and Todd Lee from the Housing Finance Agency. We're always at these events together. Because we work so closely together. When I was appointed to be head of DHCD, we were in the midst of, and still are, I think, one of the hottest housing markets across the country. Mayor Bowser and Deputy Mayor Kenner gave us a mandate: provide more affordable housing and home ownership opportunities to city residents. And so we at DHCD developed strategies that weren't just policy statements, but fast-track action plans. And we made our administrative processes more efficient, more effective, in order to move and more quickly finance production and preservation projects. And the result is $138 million this year out the door in the trust fund. And I just want to say that's a huge accomplishment for the DHCD team, many of whom are here. I want to start by acknowledging, of course, Allison Ladd, our Deputy Director, as well as the team that works on our development finance, Chris and Aaron, our legal team, Julia Wiley, our General Counsel, and her legal team. It really does take efforts across the agency, but we have become much more streamlined and are much more agile and adept at getting the resources out to the people like Phil, so that the time between when great ideas come to us and when we can make them real happens. And I can tell you that the investments we are making really do help residents like Phil's get their own homes and such. Now, recently, I was in New Orleans, where I was meeting with other housing directors and other housing folks from across the country. Washington, D.C. was awarded an incredibly prestigious award, the Larson Award, for Mayor Bowser and her leadership in the affordable housing development arena. And I can tell you, we bested New York, Boston, and Denver. Why? Because, yes, it was a very big moment for the District of Columbia. I will say that part of it is we are using the innovative strategies that were recognized and indeed are the envy, including the resources we put in across the country to preserve and produce more workforce and affordable housing. And that it is, and this is what the citation said, that Mayor Bowser has substantially built on existing efforts and created new initiatives in an ambitious, multifaceted strategy. That's why we're here. That shows her commitment, the commitment via the Preservation Strike Force, the commitment with the Housing Production Trust Fund, and with all the tools we have. So I just want to say we are doing things that have not been done before in D.C. and in the country. And again, it's with the leadership and vision of the mayor. So I just want to acknowledge that, acknowledge my team at DHCD, and just say delighted to be here working on this, preparing and helping with this project. Thank you.
Finally, these projects don't happen without, obviously, private sector support. These are classic examples of public-private projects. So I'd like to invite up Mike Bloom of the Insight Property Group to say a few words about the project.
Hello, everyone. I'm Mike Blum with Insight Property Group, and I wanted to thank Mayor Bowser for allowing us to take part in this ceremony. As many of you know, Insight's been heavily involved with this corridor in the city for years. In 2010, we began to assemble the properties down the street that would later become the Apollo. And we're extremely proud of that project. In addition to that project, before we got involved with this one, we've made a commitment to local artists and the Atlas Performing Arts Center and various after-school programs. And we're very, very proud of that initiative as well as our project. But our pride has exponentially increased with this project. To say that it took a lot of people and a lot of attention is an understatement. This project got extremely complicated, and for us to be involved in providing much needed, heavily affordable housing units is just tremendous for us in the city. There's so many people to thank, but I just wanted to give a shout out to our partners, Ben Miller at Fundrise, and Ken Brewer and Eric and his staff at 8th Street Investment Corporation, and the various city agencies that we've worked with for a couple of years now, almost daily, for a relatively small project that we think is going to have a tremendous impact on this community and some of the initiatives that have been discussed today. So thank you guys very much. We're absolutely thrilled and proud to be a part of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. So before we actually move the dirt, I guess we will invite some of the press up to have some questions.
Okay, Tom.
By the time this building is built, it will be well over 5 years. That's fairly slow. And who decides who gets in? The need is so great. Who decides who gets into these apartments?
You asked me what now about 5 years?
This project was first.
Holly, let me have you come up, please.
This project was first awarded back in February of 2013.
Mm-hmm.
By the time it opens, it'll be well over 5 years with a need very great. Why did it take so long? And two, who's going to get the apartments? If families are looking to move here, how do they sign up?
Sure. I'm going to ask Polly to talk to you a little bit more about our process when the government is involved with an inclusionary zoning project or if there is some other affordable housing requirement. That's an excellent question, how people get involved. And in terms of how long it takes, I think you heard that there was a change in, I think, both the ownership and the program here. And I don't often support changes once we have it unless I think it's a better deal for the district. In this case, it was. When I became mayor, there were a number of projects that we changed so that they would have more affordable housing than was previously negotiated in the last administration. And this is one such example. Polly.
Thank you, Mayor. To answer your question, the project owners and property managers administer the application process. Our job as an agency is to ensure those units meet the income requirements for the affordability. So we monitor for the compliance on that, verify that these are going to families who have the income levels that meet the minimum income levels and the maximum income levels. So it's a way that the project owners are compliant with the affordability. So it's by application through the property management company that is working, that is operating the property here.
Any other questions?
Mayor Bowser, off-topic question. You mentioned the incident in Las Vegas. Can you talk to residents about what is being done in D.C. to keep people safe at these outdoor... we have these outdoor gatherings daily in the District of Columbia where people are at their most vulnerable. What's being done, one, to protect people at these outdoor venues, and then now we see people using hotel rooms as a place they can check in, get a high vantage point, and get a gun into a room without any scrutiny at all. Do you think something should be done on that front as well?
Well, let me just say this, Mark. I can't talk with too much in specifics about what's happening in Las Vegas. I think the investigation is unfolding. As is always the case, our police department is going to be gathering any and all intelligence to first confirm that there's no link to the district, which we don't have any reason to think that there is, but to see if there's anything that we can learn. Sadly, what also happens after situations like this is law enforcement shares information. How were they able to locate the shooter? How does that inform active shooter training for all of our agencies? So that is the sad reality of the situation. Lastly, in preparation for any and all events in the district, we are accustomed to being at a very high rate of high level of vigilance for all of our events. We look to intelligence that's out there. Our police department does a very good job in being able to see if there's any specific threats coming towards us in the district. The last question that you mentioned, really, in my view, is about common sense gun regulation. And we have pushed back in our country time again and time again and time again, and we have seen the Congress do virtually nothing, actually, about regulating in a common sense way guns in our country. So we have to continue to work on that.
But can I follow up? In every government building, you have to be screened to get in this city. And in many private buildings, you also have to go through security, but not in any hotels. There are no hotels that... Do you think that's something that hotels should start looking at? We saw someone try to check into the Trump Hotel with an automatic rifle recently.
Yes, and they were stopped. So I think it's important that even for localities, we first of all we have to make laws and regulations that pass constitutional muster. And our legislature has moved for very strict gun control, gun reform measures. Some have survived the court test, and some haven't. So it is important that we do all we can to keep our people safe for what we know works for our city, and do it in a way that will survive a constitutional test. I'm going to get the press questions, and I'll come to you, young lady. Any other press questions, Tom?
Mayor, I'm going to get a little ahead of you for what you plan to do on Wednesday, but I'm doing the story today, so I'd like to hear from you.
Don't get too far ahead of me.
And that's making the city more affordable for first responders,
yes.
The police officers, the firefighters, the EMTs. Give us a hint of what you're going to be talking about on Wednesday that I'm going to report today.
Well, let me say it more broadly, and then I'll see you on Wednesday. That we know, and what we hear from D.C. residents is that people love progress. They love to see the streetcar, the great restaurants, increased public safety, but they too want to make sure that they have a place in a changing Washington. And housing and jobs are at the top of those lists. And when I think about how we can protect the diversity of our city, people love Washington because it's diverse, and because it still feels like D.C. And so we want to be able to protect and preserve that. And one way to do it is to make sure more Washingtonians are able to buy their first homes in Washington, D.C. So it's my true belief that if you're going out to Maryland or Virginia and buying a home, you too can buy a home in Washington. And the most ready, in my view, Washingtonians to get in a queue and get in a program and take advantage of all of our housing programs are D.C. government employees. I know they make a good living. They have great insurance and benefits, and they earn good salaries. And so we want to also entice them. So when they think about buying a home, they're thinking about every D.C. neighborhood to do that. So we will have a new program for first responders, which serves a dual goal. That goal is to help recruit more of them from all over and in D.C. And so you'll remind me of what it's $20,000 that will help with down payment assistance for first-time home buyers. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I live up the street.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm so happy you're doing this.
Thank you.
But my issue is, after you build the unit, is the parking lot behind the building? Because I know they can't dig down because of environmental issue. Where's the parking lot going to go?
Okay.
I know at night I have a 7-year-old. I have to walk from Maryland Avenue on Trinidad in order to park my car. So
okay.
I just want to make sure that when they come, get the affordable housing. So where would the parking lot actually be?
Okay, I'm going to ask one of my team to come up and talk about specifics. But keep in mind, it wouldn't be moving forward if it didn't meet all of the city's parking requirements. And I will say, just in advance, that doesn't mean one unit equals one parking space. Okay, all right. So with that introduction, because I'm not remembering the answer to your question myself, I'm going to ask Sarosh to talk.
Yeah, hi, thank you. We are, because of the subsurface conditions, we are unable to go below grade. And so, additionally, given the size of the retail and the number of units, we are able to get a variance on the parking. And so we will be working with the community in order to find additional parking in the area.
Okay, so in other words, there is no parking lot? That's what I'm asking.
On-site parking.
I mean, you can take half the sidewalk, part of the alley.
Well, there's going to be 8 spots.
8?
Yeah, so there will be 8 spots, and that will be sufficient.
For who? Okay,
It's good. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
All right.
You're telling me not to ask these questions, but I live here.
No, it's fine to ask the question, and that is, as I gave you the heads up. In a lot of the units that we build, one way, or that we support, one way that we keep it affordable is to have all of the investment going into the housing. Each of those spaces, for example, we can't go underground here, but let's just say we could. It's about $50,000 of cost added to each unit. And our experience has been, as we build 50% of market and 30% of market, the car ownership and use is substantially less. Even in other parts of in other income levels, car ownership and car use is substantially less. So that's why a few years ago the city as a whole adjusted our parking requirements, and in some cases we will support even lower parking requirements if there is the type of connectivity to public transportation that we see here. Yes, young man.
Hi.
Hi.
First of all, I'd like to thank you for the affordable housing.
You're welcome.
But I am Kia Craig. I attend the City Public Charter School. And my question is, do you have a plan to help alleviate homelessness?
Yes, we do. And it's a pretty substantial plan, and thank you for that question. We have embarked on transforming our homeless services system. So that it's there for emergencies. We have a plan to close our largest family shelter, and we're working to get those replacement units on board. And we're also very focused, as you heard today, about having affordable housing at the end of the line. In cities like ours, there's always going to be individuals and families who experience emergencies, and that's what the homeless services system is for. Unfortunately, because of the huge demand for affordable units, our homeless system has become a waiting line for affordable housing. So we have to change that for two reasons. First, we're not serving as well the people who are experiencing emergencies. And we want to make sure that families and individuals really know how to get in the queue for affordable housing. And part of working on that is producing more and more units each and every year and making sure families are experiencing increases in their wages. Okay, last question. Yes.
Hi, this is actually a follow-up to the question about homelessness. So like you said, there's a huge lack of affordable housing in the district, and I'm just wondering if that's the case, why only 4 of the units in this new building are for residents who have 30% AMI and less, when the need is greatest at the bottom there. And also I'm wondering how large all of the units will be, because the majority of the homelessness in the district is family homelessness. There's been a huge increase in that over the years.
That's not exactly true. We have a need along all family sizes for people who are experiencing homelessness, and we've actually seen more homeless exits in the last year. I can't go back to the whole reference period, but we're seeing decreases in families who are coming in because of our preventative services. So that's important. So we are focused. So this Housing Production Trust Fund can make investments at 50% or less. And this particular building includes 50% AMI and 30% AMI. Unlike a lot of projects prior to us being very focused on the actual law, that they were being delivered at 80% of the AMI. So we have refocused the Housing Production Trust Fund just as the law intends. Okay, thank you.
I'd like to invite up Councilmember, community members for a photo opportunity for the groundbreaking.
Excuse me.